Hello and welcome to Empathic Times. My name is Amira. Have you ever felt like we have a rigged or manufactured economy? That the value of the dollar is based on the current whims of either political party and their corresponding agendas? If you do, you're not wrong. As everyday citizens, we are the ones that pay a steep price for the political matches that go on in Washington. We are the ones that pay the exorbitant costs during periods of inflation. We are the ones that lose jobs during recessions and are constantly viewed as the expendable ones, whose few social programs we pay into with our taxes, think Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, are always some of the first programs to be on the chopping block when our government doesn't know how to rein in spending in other areas. Military-industrial complex? The debt ceiling is a serious topic and should be covered, and I'm glad that mainstream media is covering it as much as they are. But let's not act like the realities of this are truly being covered, because it's not. The facade of our economy and the value of the dollar is based on how politicians feel in the moment. They are playing games, and we are the ones paying the price. So what is the debt limit, and why should we care about this? The debt limit is the total amount of money that the US government is authorized to borrow to meet its existing legal obligations, including Social Security and Medicare benefits, military salaries, interest on the national debt, tax refunds, and other payments. If the US was to default on its debt, the default would likely create a spike in borrowing costs. The US debt is currently at $31.4 trillion. The federal government relies on debt raised from selling bonds for its spending. It's a key benchmark for different types of credit, which means it would have a domino effect on both domestic and global economies. If Congress is unable to come to an agreement and is unable to borrow to help pay bills, it would have to suspend certain pension payments, withhold or cut the pay of soldiers and federal workers, or delay interest payments. There are two issues or paths in solving this debt ceiling issue. The first is that Republicans will only vote for raising the limit if serious concessions, i.e. cuts in spending, are made, and they want to see a 10-year spending cap. Many Democrats do not approve of the proposed cuts, with some progressives signaling that they will not vote. Now, as we have seen, the progressives have never really stood their ground and will inevitably take whatever concessions the Biden administration tells them to. I will be shocked if they hold their ground, but so far, that is what they are saying they will do if the administration bows to the Republican agenda. The progressives, to their credit, do have a point, though, when it comes to what the Republicans are proposing to cut, because it's directly affecting the population that is already struggling. Here's what Republicans want to do. Republicans are pushing for stricter work requirements for government programs. House Republicans, in the bill they passed in April, implemented work requirements for Medicaid recipients, requiring able-bodied people without children or dependents who are ages 19 to 55 to work 20 hours a week to qualify for healthcare benefits or do community service. For food stamps, under pre-pandemic rules resuming in all states by July, able-bodied, low-income adults between the ages of 18 and 49 and without dependents can receive benefits for no more than 3 months within a 3-year period, unless they are working or enrolled in a work program. The GOP legislation would raise that age to 55 and curb states' abilities to waive those time limits. Unfortunately, the Congressional Budget Office predicted that if the GOP bill became law, about 600,000 Americans would lose health insurance, and about 275,000 Americans a month would lose access to food stamps. Now, I'm not in full disagreement with work requirements, especially if someone is able-bodied. But here's the thing. While Republicans have the right idea, which is cutting spending, why is that spending always focused on our country's most poor, most vulnerable, and most in need? Let's go back to what happens when Congress is unable to pay all of its bills. It would have to suspend certain pension payments, withhold or cut the pay of soldiers and federal workers, or delay interest payments. The keywords I'm seeing here are federal workers, meaning the president, Congress, senators, House of Representatives. I have personally seen business owners during difficult times withhold their own business income so that they can pay their workers. I saw this both before and during the pandemic. Why is this never the option? It would be a huge wake-up call to all of our government that the highest level positions don't get paid until this is situated. It's extreme, yes, but we pay them. Their salaries are because of us, because of what we pay in taxes. But no, Republicans want to cut Social Security and Medicare, which I might add has already kicked hundreds of thousands of people off of healthcare coverage since the official ending of the pandemic and the pandemic era benefits that kept people covered. And this is also the wet dream of Biden. He's wanted to cut these programs for decades now. Check out this video for more on that. So that's Republicans. Now let's get to Democrats and some pretty ridiculous shenanigans and just obvious, our economy is so screwed up fake bullshit. One of the ideas, apparently, Janet Yellen does not believe this, mind you, but one of the ideas being floated right now is minting a $1 trillion coin, a platinum coin, that can be deposited to pay off the debts until a more permanent solution emerges. This would essentially be the Treasury creating a coin of any denomination, depositing that in the government's account at the Federal Reserve, and drawing from it in order to pay for everything, from military salaries to scientific research, which would lead to the government no longer needing borrow approval from Congress. Tell me you're a fake corrupt system without telling me you're a fake corrupt system. And yet, people are out there writing opinion pieces for Bloomberg saying that Americans still have money burning a hole in their pockets from their stimulus checks. It's all fake. It's a lie, and they are just screwing us all over. Another idea being touted, as I'm sure most have heard, is Biden using the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which states that the validity of the American government debt shall not be questioned. This leads to another Supreme Court fight, just like student debt relief, and due to the highly conservative majority in the Supreme Court, will not pass muster, most likely. The last option is financial engineering, targeting the face value of the debt. The Treasury can borrow money for 2 years at an annual rate of about 4%, but it could then offer bonds with coupons of possibly 100%. In this case, it could issue a bond with a face value roughly 1/25th that of a bond with 4% yield, but raise the same amount of cash from investors, who would pay a giant premium to the face value, bringing the bond's true yield in line with the market rate. It's like legalese, a whole bunch of convoluted, confusing words meant to keep you in a state of what the fuck. They purposely make it confusing and create their own workarounds rather than actually getting to the root causes of why we are in so much debt. And newsflash, it's not because of the stimulus checks. It was the CARES Act, it was PPP, and it's the fucking Ukraine war and the military-industrial complex. And the Pentagon. I mean, seriously, unserious politicians with zero backbone to really deal with the issues because they are all benefiting from the MIC. So this is where we are, folks, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Heaven forbid we reduce funding to the military. Heaven forbid our president, commander-in-chief, step forward and say, I'm not going to receive my salary until this gets settled, and I strongly suggest that my fellow government workers follow my lead. That would be incredible, and it would show that they actually care about the people. They could do this. It's not like they can't. It would show so much true care and compassion and understanding. But, that's lost in DC. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. Do you agree? Disagree? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share with your friends. As always, stay safe, take care, and be kind to each other.